answer to crack the clue. There you go.
Oh, excellent. That's really good. Interesting. Right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Old School Q&A. I'm your host, Mod Gambit, and joining me on the couch this week is Mod Ash.
Hi. I just want to say they're not going to get that, you know.
What?
They're not going to work that one out.
No, I agree.
It's pretty convoluted, but no, yeah. Also joined by Mod Wolf.
Hello.
Welcome back to the couch, although we did have you on last week, didn't we?
Yeah,
For the
but
birthday
yeah.
stream. So, welcome back. We have Matt K as well.
Hi, everybody.
On my left. So I'm going to go through the announcements as usual. So first things first, Premier Club Gold. If you're interested in that, get it quickly. We're actually ending that offer on Sunday at midnight. So
Did we need to reprogram the menu in the game to know that?
I was about to say, actually, I don't think we've done that. So,
I haven't.
okay.
It might not work if you click on the button anyway.
We'll keep you guys
I watch
posted
these
on
live
that.
streams. That's how I learn. From
yeah.
Okay. Get it if you haven't already, just in case and you're interested. We're going to aim to close it if we can. Otherwise, we'll let you know what's going on there.
It's hotfix, bro. I'll sort you something.
Awesome.
we'll
Thank
do
you
it.
very
We'll
much.
do
Ash. The only other notice I want to give at the moment is regarding the attack style change that happened last week. Just to let you guys know what's happening with that. If you have a pure account and you were affected by the change or the bug and ended up getting some XP you didn't want, head over to the forums in the general section. I think it's the top sticky thread is where you can put all of your details, explaining what account you're intending to build, what XP you accidentally gained and when, and we'll look to get you sorted. Do that quickly though. We're actually closing that forum thread tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. What time?
Around the time of the update is the plan.
Make sure you put down information a bit. We've been looking at a couple of them, and the ones that we've been getting so far is I gained a lot of defense XP, and I was a pure. Like, if you can tell us kind of what defense level you previously had and how much, a bit more than just a lot or some, that would help as well. That'd be appreciated.
Yes.
And we can check if you got it around that time or 3 years ago, so please also don't do that.
Yeah, we can't really give an ETA on when that's going to be sorted. It's in terms of the fix itself, I understand that's ready to go. It's a case of all of the admin and working out who was affected and identifying those players and accounts.
This is not something that's been tried before, certainly on nothing like this scale, so it's rather hard to look at previous ones and see how long that took. I gather there's a lot of manual looking up involved.
Yes, but rest assured that's what we're doing and we're still working on it. We're going to get it sorted as soon as possible. So I'm going to move right on to the questions then. The first one being from Legit, who wants to know what the skill requirements for Song of the Elves is going to be. Mod Ed has actually very kindly put together a little infographic for us, which I hope we can get on screen. There we are. So
Pretty.
these are the skills you're going to need. Obviously, Song of the Elves is currently being polled. It's doing really well. Fingers crossed it continues to do well.
Was it 94.8 when I checked this morning? So
Yeah,
I think we're good.
Pretty comfortable, I reckon. So yeah, all the stats required are 70, and those are the 3 quests you'll need, and obviously all of their own prerequisites.
I don't have any of them. All the quests.
I think I have them all. I think I'm good.
Think
All
I'm
those
right.
70s and none of them 73.
Oh. If you can pick up that pin merch shop, fun fact. It's a keyring.
Yeah.
Shout that out, why not?
73 keyring.
There's
So
only
do
left.
you know if they're boostable?
That's an excellent question.
It's from the chat.
I believe they won't be boostable, but I'll double check that with Mod Ed.
He didn't make them boostable for Dragon Slayer too, did he?
Yeah. We don't always make them boostable, that's for sure.
I think they won't be. I've got all of those actually, except 70 construction, so I'm going to have to get working on that as well myself.
You haven't got a pool?
No,
Dude.
I can.
You use Clan Wars Portal? What a scrub. Come on, man.
I've got 35 construction, so I'm halfway there.
I didn't come on stream to be shamed.
Sorry. I'll help you out, bro. I'll help you out.
So, second question. Actually, it was more aimed for Mod Kieran, because I know he's got a strong opinion on this, but he wasn't actually able to join us, although I think he's going to hopefully later during the
Sneak
stream.
preview of the question.
Yeah.
Well, I'll ask the question now. We can come back to it for his opinion later if we would like. So Lost Man wants to know, if there are any plans to buff using magic in PVM as a whole, because very few bosses currently have magic as a viable strategy.
I suppose he does do a lot of the boss design around these parts.
Yeah.
Possibly because after he did the Olm, he just carried on and did the Inferno and a lot of Theatre of Blood.
So I guess the question is, do we buff magic or do we make a boss that works better for magic?
I imagine that will be more likely the case. If I was to guess his answer, if I was checking that, I was like, my hair's good today. I was like,
I can
damn.
keep adjusting.
In fact, somebody in the chat earlier said that our hair's looking great today. So
Oh, that's very, very
somebody
kind.
with an odd, thing to say. Anyway, yeah. So new bosses. Everybody likes new bosses. So I would go for new bosses that you can use magic on rather than do something which makes a difference to all the other bosses, because that's such a nightmare to go and try and make sure that we balance that right and not suddenly make a new meta and get rid of the two.
You buff magic substantially, and 3 years down the line it'll be, oh, I really hate the twisted staff. That thing's so OP. I wish range was stronger.
Yeah.
The same problem happens.
There's a few things that may be influencing this, and one of them would be the Dragon Warhammer. Now, you use that thing, it makes the defense level go down. However, NPC's magic defense tends to be based on their magic stat rather than their defense stat, with one or two exceptions, which means that the Dragon Warhammer ain't done nothing to it. And also NPCs that have high magic level, there's a reasonable chance that your Twisted Bow will go right through that like butter.
Yeah.
So between these factors, there's a lot of reasons why magic isn't going to be the thing you want to use. Now, sometimes you can just be artificial about it and say this NPC is immune to ranging, deal with it. And also make it fly up in the sky so you can't melee it either. That's one way of going about it. I'd possibly consider it the trivial solution, but it would give you a magic-based boss. Well,
Yeah.
I also saw somebody talking about the lack of melee bosses as well. Everything is ranged these days.
it's been a very long time since we made one for melee, intended for melee.
Maybe
Well,
we ought
it's been a very long time since we did a multiplayer boss. Technically, the Corp was one. We didn't exactly make it, but been a while.
when we could take the other end and nerf range.
I actually have a question about this later. regarding the range.
Monka.
So we can give our thoughts. Well, we can give our thoughts on that now. I don't know if I can find the exact wording, but it's essentially how do we feel about ranged being the strongest thing at the moment for PVM, and what can we do about it, if anything?
I do see Kieran having some good answers.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
I definitely think that what, like you were saying earlier, is the most important point. Like, we're at a point where, sorry, what Matt was saying, like, if we just buff something, then that becomes the stronger thing. And I think it's more about what you were saying, just having variety in boss types as opposed to buffing or nerfing something. I remember at one. Oh. No, I'm not going to say that. Sorry.
Can't say the thing.
Leaked?
No, because we came close to doing something that we then didn't release because we had the same discussion actually that we're having right now, I think. So, yeah.
I'm sure it was a very good discussion.
Wasn't nerfing the blowpipe, was it?
It was. I just didn't want to get that. I just didn't want to scare the chat.
I don't mind saying that we've talked about that before. I think we've raised it on previous Q&As
Yeah.
as something we've considered. I don't know, it's a
See it
difficult
go
one.
I mean, we met at one point. We coded and tested a change at one point.
Oh, did we get that far?
But then we had further discussions, and we're having the discussion we're having right now, really, which was just it doesn't solve the problem. It just creates another combat style to be stronger. So having more variety in that kind of in combat is the best solution generally.
Sure.
So, absolutely.
What if? Right, this might be a stupid. In fact, probably is a stupid idea. Most of mine generally tend to be after a while.
You
Occasionally, ones come out which are quite
Crack the
good.
Clues was a great success.
Yeah, apart from Crack the Clue, yeah. And Deadman, that was good.
Was Iron Man one of yours?
No, I think that was He Who Can't Be Spoken About.
I mean, actually doing it in... Okay.
Yeah. How about something which requires a balance between all three attack types to defeat it?
You mean Vanguard?
What's Vanguard?
In the Chains of Xeric, there's those three things that scuttle around the floor like vans.
Well, even a boss with maybe 3 stages or phases where you need to use each attack style to weaken it.
Oh, no, I'm thinking
A boss
more.
that prays.
I'm thinking more a weapon that combines all three of your attack types to create damage. So it uses
tribid
all
weapon.
of them. A tribrid weapon.
Like the sword bow thing from that devious.
Well, see, there was a film that I watched years and years ago. I must have been only more than sort of 10, and there was a chap in there who had a sword. It was a fantasy film, so swords and dragons and stuff. And he had a sword, and the sword had 3 prongs on it, and 2 of the prongs would fire out and kill. So, but I don't know, something along that. I'll shut up now. Right, carry on.
The 3-headed salamander, which a salamander can be all 3 styles, but it can't do them all at the same time. Maybe requiring you to use all 3 would be a good idea.
If somebody else remembers that film, I didn't dream it.
Good. Or maybe there could be something you do with a 3-headed salamander, combine it with a hydra and get one that actually does fire on all cylinders simultaneously.
Previous discussions around white salamanders at one point, I remember that being a community suggestion for a while, but then we were like, is that a bit strong? Because if I remember correctly as well, salamanders are based off your like melee accuracy, despite it being a mage attack or a range attack.
I'm not sure about that.
I think it's something weird.
I really thought it didn't, but well, if it were a special one for use in a special place, that could get around some of the problem. Also, I gather an Olm is a kind of salamander if one ever wants an excuse for an extremely powerful white one.
You got many questions to get through, by the way?
Plenty.
Right, we better crack on then.
No more stories. No more stories. We're good. Can we have the time on the chat, by the way? It's not appearing for us. Thank you.
So the same player actually asks another question. Lost Man. They ask if there's a possibility of adding the crystal quiver idea to our concept for Song of the Elves. I think we actually raised it and discussed it in the Song of the Elves poll blog itself, the one for the poll that's currently live, and said we really like the concept. So for those who don't know, the idea is to have a quiver, an item that will go in your ammo slot, to buff the damage output of the crystal bow. I think we're going to, well, we like the design. I think we're going to put it in the rewards and extras poll, the second one for Song of the Elves. So, yes.
I'd be cautious about maybe looking into ragging with that, I think, because it is a rag weapon, the crystal bow. Look into some way of making it so you might actually have a substantial loss if you're doing that with the quiver.
I think we're more volatile and caused the bow to be lost as a result.
That's what I think.
Then death would have a bit more meaning than it currently does.
Or even the quiver itself could be, well, we could anchor its value to something, and then make it lost on PvP death.
Certainly, if you've got 2 items rather than 1, like the bow and the quiver, that's not just 1 item.
Just Another Human asks, are there any plans to improve the friending system? Currently, if someone adds you, nothing tells you if they have added you back.
Interesting.
What do we think?
I think we'd need the engine team to do it.
Right.
Maybe that's something we can look at as part of that thing we want to work on next year.
I hope so. I really hope so. It's not directly connected, but if they were free of that project as well, then maybe we could get some other stuff.
I think there's a lot of
Secrets.
lot of community connection stuff that I think can go into that project as well, not just in game but outside the game as well. So I think we could have a lot of success from that. So
Yeah, that might be a nice one
Work
to
out what
have.
he's talking about, then you found the next place to dig for Cracknickel.
Mod Kieran has entered the room.
Excellent.
Got Mod Kieran in the studio.
Past all these cameras they've got set up as obstacles.
yeah.
Well, I'll wait for Mod Kieran to sit down. I reckon his input on the next question will be quite pertinent.
Sorry, the chair was in the way.
Senior devs.
Well, while he's doing that, we can take the one about Group Iron Man from the chat. It's been a while since I answered this one. Simply that, yes, we know many of you'd like Group Iron Man. Unfortunately, there's not just in-game content for that, but a lot of engine side of it required as well, like any new mode, really. So until they're available to deliver their side of it, we won't be trying to go any further with the in-game content bit. But we know Yiz wants it. We think it'd be quite popular, and we look forward to hopefully be able to give it. Tis Kieran.
Hello, yo.
Hello, Mod Kieran.
There's
Welcome
apparently a
to the stage.
pertinent question.
There are a
Was it
couple.
where is Mod Kieran?
There are a couple we wanted to get your opinion on. I'll sort of put them together. The first was, how do we feel about magic? Well, not really having any magic-based bosses or it being kind of pants for PVM? And then also, how do we feel about range just being the best for PVM?
This is where we hope you say exactly what we all agreed
I
on.
have no idea what you guys all said.
So we'll fingers
Let's
crossed.
see.
Let's hope. Right, so you guys wanted to buff the blowpipe, yeah?
What? No.
Yes,
No.
please stop us.
No, don't buff the blowpipe.
See you, Cole.
Magic-based bosses, I would love to. But Magic is quite hard to work with in terms of designing a boss, I feel. We've tried. I think Abyssal Sire was the one we went furthest on, but we went very specific, like you need to use this spell, or this spell. And I don't think that really worked greatly. The players didn't really enjoy it too well.
It's a fairly big lift to want to use a specific spell, especially that one. And also, we let other weapons work as well. And the benefit of using the specific spell just wasn't enough to make it worth bothering.
Yeah.
So if we did do this, it would have to be very specific and not accept anything else.
Yeah, and then the obviously general magic, maybe your trident's your standard best in slot magic weapon. It's so bad. it's so weak in DPS compared to the others. So yes, you could make trident the best in slot. You could make it super strong against range and melee, and that would work. So that's not out of the question. But then really, the best use of magic in this game is that you have this range of spells, this library. Try to utilize those. I mean, somebody who was talking about wanting magic bosses was talking about like the comparison to the Dagannoth Mother, and the fact it changes color when you got to use the right theme on it. And to me, that works well as a one-off boss. When you got to go and grind 200 of them, I think it would get frustrating to work.
Yeah.
So we got to be careful with how we do it, but yeah, I'd love to bring magic into bossing, even if it's in the case of as little as it is with like the DKs.
Yeah.
In that, obviously, there's one you have to kill with magic because it's super strong against the others.
Yep.
Even then, in raids, there's occasional use of magic. You usually try it against one of the arm hands. But yeah.
Which reminds me, I'd like to tweak it so that the humidify thing for putting out fires can work long distance in future. Won't be for this week's update, but I would like to do it.
What about for, I know we added it so you can use vessels as well, like bowls and that. Could we have it so that you're sort of chucking the water from a distance at the
You don't mind losing your vessel. Grickler's cat.
Oh, and the other one was range, right? So, just to go on with this topic, but I mean, the other thing as well with a boss is if it's melee, like if the player has to stand in melee distance, it becomes quite restrictive with what you can do with mechanics, because so many mechanics are stand in this certain location, dodge this attack by moving, and so melee can actually be quite difficult to work with. That's not to say it doesn't work, but that encourages you to want a boss to generally get the player at a distance, hence using range and magic. And hence, range is obviously way, way, way better than magic. Hence, the meta has generally went down the direction of range. And so, I think that's how we really got to where we are.
That's a good explanation.
So I'm sure we'd be creative enough to overcome those problems, though.
But yeah, obviously we
I'm
can.
sure we can.
The trivial thing is just to have the boss sit there with a protect from range over its head and leave it there.
Yeah. And maybe a deflecting range thing, so every time an arrow hits in, there's a chance of it coming back and hitting you instead. That would set the cat amongst the pigeons.
Curses. Oof.
Deflect range confirmed. Kidding.
I'd like to have, I mean, don't go all
Engine
panic
supports
buying
it.
your items right now because there's no current plans, but I'd like to do a boss where it encourages you to use slower hitting weapons, stuff like that,
That'd be a nice change.
rather than using fast DPS weapons. I mean, probably rule out the T-Bow because it's already a slow one and powerful for other reasons, but yeah.
If the boss were only vulnerable every 6 ticks, and anything you did between those reflected, so your mission was to try and synchronize your weapon with it,
Yeah, that'd be cool.
that's all interminable.
Yeah. Or we completely shift the damage calculation on this in the middle of this boss fight.
Well, a lot of our mechanics of late have involved you wanting to run around like the clappers, which means that being able to do DPS quite quickly in the times when you can has been valuable. We can try not doing that.
It's nice making the player run around like the clappers, though.
Is that not an expression you guys use?
No, I was really confused.
I do, yeah, I know that.
What is it? What's in
Hesitant
reference
to ask
to?
what it
we're just-
means.
Running around a lot like a blue-assed fly. Maybe we're just old.
Wait, that's also like another one. You use a really confusing.
You know how flies fly?
Yes.
Yes.
But
that's
why,
what-
why is it a blue?
Like his
I don't
socks, they
know.
go faster.
Yeah, I don't know why either, but when the clappers, I suppose a clapper would be a Victorian young child who had some sort of job where he was a runner for somebody and they called him a clapper. Would be my guess.
Well, I thought it was a part of a bell.
There's
But
also
they don't go-
there's also the thing that you have as well. Isn't there?
I can tell it's been a while since you've been on the stream. I'm like, whoa, where's this going?
All right, I'll move on with the questions at this point before you.
I would just like to point out
Yes.
that if anybody wants to send me some socks, I will wear them on stream.
I mean, I'm also mine
there's
are,
an
mine,
offer.
mine are just spotty. So if you have any for me as well,
It's been a while since I've got sent a pair of socks. I do like my
I
colourful
Gambit.
socks.
Gambit doing his best to move on.
I'm trying to hold this team together.
size 7, personally.
Oh yeah, oh,
What are you?
11.
Oh,
So Rain asks, can we add a buy maximum button to the Grand Exchange? For example, if I have 100k in my inventory that I want to spend and I want to buy some Zolra scales, this button would automatically adjust the quantity to as many as possible for the price I have set.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
Cool.
It's a sensible thing, isn't it? So what really annoys me about the Grand Exchange. Right, you go, you want to buy something.
we just got a quick yes answer. That was a great
Right.
moment.
No, it's people will like this. You go and buy something, and then you put your price in for it, and it doesn't buy. You just want to update your price rather than.
Kieran actually tried that, didn't you? Something a long time ago for.
Trying to do an update offer sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which we can't update a live offer, so it would come to us trying to automate the process of cancelling an offer and recreate an offer.
Do that.
Pretty sure
Good
I
job.
accept that. I know you tried. How far did you get?
I didn't get very far. It was a while ago, though.
It wasn't an easy thing to try.
No. I ran into a lot of issues trying to make it work. Because the problem is, we have to wait for the G server to even tell us that your offer's been cancelled, wait for your items to arrive, and so with a sell offer, it's even more difficult. With a buy offer, you need your coins back before you can necessarily make a new one. So there's a lot of problems.
Yeah, we'd have to find somewhere else to stick them in the interim and black out your screen so you don't do anything else while this is going on, lest you disrupt it and get a race condition.
All I'm hearing is like, item dupes when we fake something.
Reasonably, you'd probably find yourself delayed. The screen would say loading, and if it fails, it'll time out and let you carry on. If it works, then it'll work.
We could disguise it as lag. Awesome.
Is Kieran being picked up all right on his mic, by the way, or is it chafing against his t-shirt? Because I realise it's very low down.
No one's complaining.
He's got a strong voice.
Okay, we're good then.
All right, we'll probably be all right. So we reckon the buy maximum button would be
Yes.
quite straightforward to do?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. If we can get that highlighted. Oh, I forgot to mention we've got the wonderful mod Rye on chat gathering your questions, so don't forget to punch them into the chat. If you could highlight that one for us, that would be excellent, and we'll get it added. Next question is from Broken, and they want to know what our thoughts are on removing the 115 combat penalty from Chambers of Xeric.
Did you see the the text I sent you for putting in the news post?
I did.
Can you remember what I said about it?
I remember the gist. So we're aware that you guys, well, people who raid regularly are not particularly happy with the scaling for both the points and the NPC combat levels based on the player's combat level. At the moment, it averages everyone in your party and scales based on that.
Indeed.
Our sort of solution, proposed solution, is to have it scale based on the highest combat level of the member. The member of your party with the highest combat level.
Yeah.
Indeed, well remembered.
And that's what we're looking to do.
So this was off a player suggestion. When we put out the Chambers of Xeric blog back in January, we listed a few things we wanted to change about the balance, and this came up as a fairly popular request to address. We didn't want to commit at the time to definitely shoehorning it into the blog with all the other things we wanted to do, because time be finite, and we had quite a lot of stuff in that blog. But that is one that we are having. It hasn't cleared testing in time for this week's update, but it's
Looking good for next
hopefully
week.
excellent if we can, and if we can't, well, just imagine it's being tested extra thoroughly.
I saw a comment as well about Ice Demon, and we saw more comments about that with the first batch of releases, and tomorrow we're actually releasing some additional changes to the Ice Demon, because we know that one's really annoying. I think we've lowered the magic and melee defenses of the demon itself. We've also, more importantly, we've made it so that when you chop the trees, instead of just getting one branch, you get multiple based on your woodcutting level, like a random amount, as well as the fact that the trees no longer like fall after one or two. They last a bit longer.
We have taken the woodcutting XP down a little bit, but unless you were seriously using Chambers of Xeric for training your woodcutting, you're probably all going to survive that.
So there you go. It's no longer an insta-skip room. It's actually pretty good now. I think it's actually one of the better rooms to do.
Given that like the first draft I sent through, you were getting at least on average 6 kindling per chop at the tree. That was felt okay. Ash, you're overdoing it now. Let's see how you get on with this.
Yeah, we may have made it a little too good. I'm sure you'll let us know. But yeah, we'll see.
All right. So another player would like to know what the added bonus of using a lockpick when it's optional is. Examples include pyramid plunder, ogre coffins, and ham storerooms.
There is no fixed pattern to that. Developers occasionally felt like giving a little bonus. How much bonus would be up to whatever the developer was typing at the time.
Right.
There isn't going to be a global lockpick bonus formula.
I think in general it's not worth it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So save the inventory space is okay.
And
But
it's
my
really
hair
worth-
clip.
The mulch chests.
I think the pyramid plunder one especially definitely isn't worth it.
Oh, okay. So don't bother bringing lockpicks where you don't need them is sort of our advice there then, realistically. Okay.
I had a player asking about they got to level 13 thieving. They found there's chests you can now picklock to get loot at level 13 thieving, and apparently they're in the wilderness. So the player asked me where the things were. Took me a while to find out, but the answer is the pirate shack at the far north, and also the axe hut. That's got some.
What do they give you?
Right.
10 coins.
Ooh.
That's what your level 13 thieving will give you. There are some outside the wilderness, so
And
your
you've got
level
Rift
13
the
thieving
depths
is
of
not
the
completely
wilderness.
wasted. I'm not sure exactly where. I think it was around Relica, actually.
I can imagine some new player camping that chest, making maybe like 2 or 3k, trying to run back
Dying.
and just getting PK'd on the way.
Dude, what are you on about? Forget Ardy Knights. These chests are broken. We need to fix these right.
no.
I don't
Nice.
see any
Nothing
XP
coming.
in there. There might be some, but mostly you get 10 coins, and it's in the top end of the wilderness, next to all the pirates or the axes. Or I think there's some in Relica.
Oh dear. Should we?
Let's move on.
Let's move on. So Maggot asks if we're planning to update the interfaces for working with metals and smelting jewellery. These interfaces feel inconsistent with others which have been updated, such as fletching logs, cooking, and the spinning wheel.
I do think so. We didn't touch them during the make all conversion in 2017 because that was, well, firstly, quite a lot of stuff already. Yes, it was. Secondly, it uses the chat box, and these things have a lot of stuff on, so we didn't put them in there. But that way of interacting with skilling interfaces seems reasonably well received. And of course now there's mobile as well, which is an extra incentive to make things more about tapping. But frankly, it had been requested before that anyway. So I think it will happen.
Names are really upsetting. Like it's maggot, broken, lost man, like just another human. You guys okay? Like
Feels bad.
yeah, feel free. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
like
now
wow.
that you mention it, actually.
But I think the anvil ones they'd be a bit harder to approach because the amount of things on offer.
Well, that's the thing. If there's, it's not going to go in the chat box, but if there were the quantity buttons built into it,
Yeah.
and then there wouldn't be need for right-clicking on the individual items. That's at least what players who've talked to me about it seem to be expecting anyway, and that's quite convenient for us.
Yeah. I know it's a skill I see a lot of requests for saying that it's useful to train it on mobile, but it's a bit annoying having to right click all the time.
yeah.
Okay, so we're aware you guys would like better interfaces for those things, and we would like to do them.
These are, of course, well, interface work is never going to be small. It's part of the way your seed vault is. But they'll come.
Alrighty. I have a question from a player called YDM, and they ask if you're doing Pyramid Plunder and have a Pharaoh Scepter in your inventory, does this affect the chance of you getting one as a drop?
I don't believe
I
so.
don't think so.
I don't think so either. I just
I'd be
wanted.
very shocked.
I
if
just saw
somebody
that and I thought,
That would require a developer to write the line. If you have a Pharaoh Scepter in your inventory, then we'll offer a lower rate.
I think the Ring of Wealth helps, though, right? Is the Ring of Wealth help?
don't think
Is
so.
that not as well?
Don't
There you
remember
go.
seeing that
I'd
in
be
the
very,
code.
very shocked if the ring of wealth helped.
That might be a question to run past the dev before the stream, since the chances of us memorising the code to that extent
Yeah.
is
I-
low.
I know the rate is 1 in 1,000.
I think the
Apparently
answer is. I assume the
there you
answer
go.
is no. I just wanted to include it because it just reminded me of the Cute Noobs sub, and I thought we'd settle that one for YDM so that he can do Pyramid Plunder in peace.
Okay, there we go. I'm pretty sure it's fine.
King Ake Lexus, that's what I'm going to go for, Ashalexus
Yeah, I do that.
asks if Zolcano can offer a large amount of pure essence as a reward as it involves rune crafting. That's the proposed skilling boss for Song of the Elves in Prifddinas. They say that right now the high-level methods for getting pure essence are either killing Zulrah or through the Nightmare Zone shop. And that's a problem.
No one wants pure essence.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Like, that just ruins people who actually want to kill the boss and get a good drop. I mean, I'd rather just work on a better method of getting pure essence if it's annoying.
This is something I wanted to ask, which is more generally, how can we fix the problem of getting pure essence without adding it to PVM or skilling bosses or anything like that? What would be an appropriate?
A new rune crafting thing.
I've got it.
Made by the dwarves. It is a big truck that you just drive into a big vein of pure essence.
It's like a drill bit at
Grind
the
it
end.
down.
Yeah, okay.
Pure essence going everywhere. Kind of like that scene from
Look.
Thing on Mars. What's that film called? Total Recall.
Did you guys see that Seren pure essence suggestion thing?
No.
Did you not see it?
Also, it's pretty high level content. To
Crystal
look at this
essence
problem.
or
Yeah, something like that. I like something
I mean,
like that.
Zolcano as well. Like, it's locked behind Prifddinas. That's it's a Grandmaster quest, and I'm not sure that's going to solve.
That's true. That also doesn't
properly.
solve the main problem. You're right.
I mean, the best way to solve it is to make rune essence and pure essence stackable. That makes them easy. It makes it easier to train rune crafting in one go.
Sorry, I thought you were about to say a serious suggestion, and then I realised you were trolling. I was like, okay, where's he going with this? I was waiting for you to be like, and then but you can't use it until you make an unstackable version. But no, you were just saying, no, just one click 99 rune crafting.
In all seriousness, I mean, mining. We've got the dense essence.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a way to convert that into pure essence or something. And obviously it's dense, so it converts to more than one. Would maybe make it attainable? I don't know.
Like something similar to MMOs, where you mine something else and trade it into like a wizard or someone relevant who give you pure essence in return.
Mining, like spending on identified minerals.
Also, this is only really a problem for Iron Man.
Yes, I think.
It's true.
I wasn't being facetious, actually.
No, I'm just thinking, because like the way we did sharks was get minnows and you trade it in for sharks, right? And similarly, you mine X material and give it to Y person and you get
Thing is,
Z product.
we never minded devaluing the mining of essence, because the mining of essence
Sucks.
is not worthy of your time, even at low-level mining. And the fact that it doesn't get faster at high-level mining makes it even worse. So that's why we didn't mind spaffing it into the game from Nightmare Zone and again from Zulrah, unlike resources that are more legitimate skilling activities for you. Same goes for picking up flax off the floor.
I'm really surprised that I see it quite a lot actually on social as well as like in the chat right now. But when people are like, don't care to IMN or no IMN updates and stuff like that, it surprises me because a lot of players are Iron Men. You'd think there'd be as much of a vocal majority on that side.
I think the Iron Man community is very mixed on whether they want any gameplay.
Yeah, that's true.
Mode at all.
Yeah, it's really
Well, if they've
bizarre.
worked hard to get where they are, they may have reasons to resent it becoming easier for future
that's also
generations.
true.
I mean, you could have, at a higher your mining level, you mine bigger chunks of essence.
Yeah.
You then drop into a machine and it just
Yeah.
turns them into lots of smaller.
Yeah, that's
Like that.
kind of where we go with the dense essence thing,
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Okay. So we're aware that pure essence is a problem for some players, and we're open to finding better ways of attaining it. But we wouldn't tie it behind something like Zolcano.
Well, I suspect if we went with something like that, it would probably not compare with what the rate you can get it from Zulrah, but it would at least mean that if you're not into the combat, which is a thing, there is a better source than the back and forth with 5 XP per plop or whatever.
Or if you want to go really left field, right? When you cast a spell using runes, there's a chance for the pure essence to get delivered back into your inventory.
You are going to get so much junk in your inventory at that, right?
That's true.
I'm not a fan of that one, Matt.
Stack maybe into a pure essence bag or something.
So
I think that's definitely yes. I can see all the support from that in the chat. We should do that.
confirmed then.
Yeah, I'll add it to the backlog now.
I'm going to move away from pure essence. The next player wants to know when they can expect to see a blog regarding Deadman mode. I've got an answer from Mod Acorn, which is that it's soon, next week. In fact, Mod Acorn herself and Mod Archie are working on this currently, so that's where we're at with the Deadman blog. A player called I Crash at Sand Crabs.
That's a cool name as well. Good name.
Asks, now that Old School is more popular than ever, where do we expect new players to train combat, given that we plan to remove the Nightmare Zone and crabs are crowded at peak times?
That's an ironic name now, all of a sudden.
As you release more combat-related content, the need for combat training spots continues to increase.
I suppose we ought to find a way of introducing more combat training spots, I guess. Not everyone's going to train them the same way.
What kind of levels are we talking here? I mean, for new players, we're not like talking more Cowfield, are we?
I mean, I'm not sure exactly what the player is referencing. They just say new players, so I'm guessing
The
anywhere.
chat answer is Slayer.
Let's do Slayer.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of look at combat, and I would think that the solution is more worlds, especially for free to play. You know,
No,
if they're getting filled up, then stick them in there.
I don't know. It's a hard one. Like
What we did with originally when we did free to play is we put a whole load of new mobs down in the Lumbridge area
yeah.
for new free to
Still
play
there.
players coming in. It's just still there.
I've got it.
They're probably broken because Dan did them, but you know.
They're probably being splashed on.
Instant sand crabs for a bond.
For a bond.
One bod per sand crab.
I don't know how I feel about instancing training areas like that.
like, am I the only person in like the world who actually thinks that Nightmare Zone, if we got rid of the rewards and we slightly nerfed the XP a little bit, so it's not the best training method, but it's something that's still
AFK
it still has a
training.
use. Like, how? Like, because at the point, I don't like the idea of completely removing Nightmare Zone personally. It's just completely removing it. That is because then just sand crabs get full and bandits get full, and it just causes issues.
Well, I still like the idea of just moving it to Lunar Isle, locking it behind Dream Mentor.
But no, but to be fair though, for the record, I also don't like Nightmare Zone as it is as well. So it's like this catch-20 situation where it's like, what do you do for the best scenario? What's the best thing to fix it? I don't know.
Best to look at who's using it and what we do with it. I mean, that's the thing.
Data.
We look at I mean, if we look at who uses it, if when we made the first nerf to it, we looked at who was legitimately using it, weren't we? And it wasn't very many people, which is why the first nerf happened. And if it's not got any better and people aren't legitimately using it, accounts that are using it are being sold off, or accounts are using it and then going on to bot, then if that's what it's being used for, then we'll get rid of it. There's no reason to keep it. If those guys want to come in and try and grind up in the other areas, we'll catch them an awful lot.
All we need to do is remove XP, yeah.
Model Rye, can we do a straw poll actually? I'm curious to see where the chat is at on
That's
this.
all right, guys. Rusty Nice 2 uses it legit. You can't get rid of it.
Oh, right, there you go.
Soz, mate.
If we can ask what should happen to the Nightmare Zone, we'll leave it as it is, completely remove, nerf XP slightly, and move to Lunar Isle / lock behind Dream Mentor and see what the most popular is. I'm curious to know. But yeah, in terms of new training areas for lower players, the next suggestion actually covers this a little bit, and maybe we can do more this kind of thing, which is, can we add a basement to the Alcarid Palace with more guard NPCs requiring completion of Prince Ali Rescue to access?
Yes, or an upstairs. It's got some upstairs that's not really used.
So I think things like that could be really useful for this kind of thing.
And to be honest, I like that slightly more than just throwing worlds at it, because you had a cave with quite a lot of places in it, and suddenly there's 100 and something of those caves from all the worlds that do exist. I mean, obviously, there's places where we would like more worlds anyway. We'd use some in Australia in future. I haven't got an ETA on that, but it's something that sysadmins have really scoped for.
The problem with too many worlds as well is that, it's great there's 100 more spots for training the things that are packed, but then things that have a fair amount of competition that you want to have competition balance-wise suddenly just become free for everyone, and it gets rid of that part of the game.
One problem
Finding
that's worth
people can be
touching
even
upon,
harder with
PvP.
Yeah.
The more worlds you have, the harder PvP is to find.
Sorry, that was actually what I was saying, but yes.
Sorry. Yeah. You can't find people to kill.
Yeah.
I guess a lot of people might like that because it means it's hard to find, but the point of the wilderness is that it's dangerous.
Can you expand the window a bit and see how many votes there are? Thank you.
Okay, we'll leave the straw poll running a little bit longer, but we've got quite a few votes coming in. I'll move on to the next question in the meantime, which is from M. Gluddy. That's what I'm going to go for.
Goody?
Something similar.
Oh, yeah.
Not quite.
But it's not, yeah.
They ask, why does Crystal Armor have no negative offensive stats despite having very strong defensive stats?
Oh, that actually is ML. That is actually.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, that is Ronan.
Oh, hi, Ronan. Thank you for your
Ronan.
question. So I'll go ahead and answer this one. The situation with the Crystal Armor is, you may have noticed, we actually pulled it from the poll. It's not currently being voted on because of this reason, amongst others. We weren't happy with the balancing and the design. So we would rather take the time to work with you on that and include it in the second round for the extras and rewards poll. I don't know what I wasn't there for the original design of the stats, so I don't know what the thought process necessarily was, but we're trying to work out where it will fit into the game and what we would like it to be.
Yeah, your answer was spot on, really.
So, yeah, there we go. That's
The answer was,
situation.
yeah, good question. That's why we've not put it on the poll, so we can get your feedback. I think it's pretty
So,
spot on.
that's the situation with Crystal Armor at the minute. So our straw poll is in. We've had, well, over 2,000 votes. So the question we asked was, what should we do to the Nightmare Zone? 7% of you, out of 2,300, let's say, would nerf the experience. 17% would leave it as it is, whereas 20% would completely remove Nightmare Zone, and 56% of you would move it to Lunar Isle and lock it behind a Dream Mentor.
So 17% bots then.
So
Some of them legitimately asked, what do we do with the imbues if it's been locked behind Dream Mentor? Because imbuing some of those Dagonoth King rings is not entirely appropriate.
yeah.
So the answer can be anything players would like. An obvious one that's been discussed before was having the imbues dropped as a scroll from the same kind of source as the ring, or from a similar thing in the area, so that the imbuing of the ring comes from something relevant to the ring.
Yeah, that's something I would definitely want to look to do first, is move all of the imbues away from the shop. So things like the crystal equipment.
Warding, as everyone's saying.
Belong somewhere else. Warding would be a great one for it, for example. Before doing anything with Nightmare Zone, I think the shop needs to be addressed.
Well, that's an interesting way of getting them to vote for warding, taking away things they currently enjoy using and say, have it back if you vote for this skill.
So the login screen they're not getting until their warding's passed.
You can't access God Wars or Chamber of Xeric unless you have at least 99 warding.
I don't know if well,
we'll do a max
that's the
world
right
at that
approach. I'll move on to our next question from Matty, which is, can the Lovercane graceful outfit recolor be made more orange?
What colour is it right now?
They say it's currently an unpleasant shade of yellow. They use the word unpleasant specifically. When other representations of Lovercane, such as the house symbol, are more orange.
The walls are very orange in Lovercane.
I'm sure we could do that.
Yeah, it's almost sort of like a golden yellowy kind of colour, I think.
It's very doable. It's relatively quick actually as well, I think. But
So sure?
if you want it, sure.
It's not the kind of thing I'm going to have a strong opinion on.
No, yeah, that's all right.
Kind of indifferent. I suppose we can if we want to. Lots of no's in chat now. Whatever.
Whatever.
Whatever then. Blast Quasar. Is that how you say Quasar? The space thing that happens sometimes? I don't know.
Quasar, yes.
Yeah. They say, well, they ask, are there any market prices of newer items that surprised you after release? And are there any items that wound up being much more or less valuable than expected during development?
Blinken Scythe ended up staying over multiple bills for a lot longer than I thought it would. I thought it would eventually.
I'm not that shocked.
I knew we knew it would be strong, but I didn't think it would be like, what was it, like 10 bill to begin with? 15 bill? It was something ridiculous.
It was a lot.
It hovered around 7 bill for ages, like so much, like 2 months or something. That was insane. But yeah.
I was always surprised at the price of the Scythe, given
Was it 7? Maybe I was way
it was
off.
a lot, but
It was a lot more than max cash for a lot longer than I thought it would, essentially.
sure. Any other items, maybe not even new items, just historically, guys, that surprised you in terms of their value?
Now, climbing boots.
Oh, was that a surprise to you?
What I didn't know about it. The weirdest thing was, back then I used to do an awful lot of
You
PK.
stocked up, Ash.
Yeah, back then.
How would I have known?
Yeah, back then I used to do an awful lot of free-to-play PK, and so I had a whole stack of several hundred climbing boots in my bank. And I had no idea this thing was going to happen.
Right.
Suddenly they went up in price. I'm like,
Right.
I ain't touching them for 6 months.
Highly suspicious.
Well, that's what you see. You don't touch them for a couple of months, but the alg price stayed the same, and that's what you knew all along. Because your uncle is Mod Mark, and he told you.
Certainly, if one searches on the GE, there's a little reference to that in the form of the rock climbing boots, which you can find and try to buy. The description does say these boots were made for trolling. Had a few questions about what we meant by that, which slightly misses the point.
Yeah. Anyway.
So Maxi Max asks, how are the player submissions for the Treasure Trails expansion so far? Has there been anything noteworthy?
That's some really cool stuff in there. I must admit, so much cool ideas out there.
I passed on the one about mole bleach.
Mole bleach?
Yes, so that you can get your mole pink, like the baby ones wandering around the cavern, rather than the the one that looks like the giant mole.
Is that bleached fur rather than just having the fur shaved? Maybe a mole razor would be more appropriate.
Well, I suppose we could let you shave your mole, but
I also
like the idea of
I
mole
like
bleach.
that. I also like the mole slippers.
I like those as well. Yeah. Okay.
I don't think I know about that one.
I think my
Pair
favourite.
of slippers just with like moles in your feet.
Oh, good lord.
They were quite good.
Are there any you've liked?
There's a golden spade I thought was quite cool.
I like the golden spade.
Yep.
That was good.
I think PKs will have a good time.
Yeah.
We should only be able to get it from Wilderness Clue, quite frankly.
I like the dye for the gnome scarf. I was quite happy with that one.
Yeah.
Like, recolours to gnome scarf's iconic. Quite like adding more colours to that.
Yeah, sure. Get
So,
the
so many,
going.
so many cool ideas. We could easily have 200-300 different items out of the ideas that are coming. I think.
Yeah, a full year of treasure trail updates.
That'd be.
I want something that's like. It seems like most of the suggestions are just add gold.
Gold, X, Y, and Z.
Like,
Yeah.
I still stand by the
some bling.
2016 Treasure Trail update. My favourite one we added was the Monk Robes G. That was sick.
Yeah.
And we need more stuff of that tier of epic.
Do I say year weirdly? Yeah, a
Sorry?
full year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go for the year rather than year.
Year.
Yeah.
Northerner.
Is that how I'm meant to do it? Year.
Yeah.
That's how everyone else does it.
How do you say this?
And there goes the chat.
Ear.
Yeah, go. Just like
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeet.
I've got an answer from Mod Acorn, who's actually handling a lot of the Treasure Trail stuff, and in her absence, I will answer on her behalf. She says that the submissions have been amazing. There have been lots of really cool reward ideas as well as puzzle options. She says that she found the Neve body pillow to be quite noteworthy.
I remember that one, yeah.
Was it two-handed?
Yes, yes, it was.
That's actually brilliant.
And
Oh, we could do that as
Where
well.
do you put those two hands? So,
just
Behind the pillow, it'll be like a shield, like a shield. Oh, okay.
she said that definitely sparked discussion. And if it doesn't make it into the Treasure Trails rewards, it's a possible merch store option instead.
to buy a real life. Is it inflatable?
No.
Is that how body pillows?
No, a body pillow is very different than what you're thinking of. A body pillow, it's just a tall pillow.
Okay.
Yeah, but she says there's been lots of great other designs as well for things like the mimic and rewards, etc., etc. So yeah, we're really pleased to see all of that. Thank you for participating.
Yeah. Times like this that you guys are absolutely great at helping us make the game, and this is why we do what we do. So.
Yeah.
Working with you guys is a simultaneous feeling of both shame and excitement.
Today I learned there's such a thing as a body pillow.
Oh, is that news for you? Body pillows.
Yeah, well,
Suppose-
what the heck is one of them for?
Yeah, I always love the Treasure Trail updates. I think in 2016, I don't think we barely wrote any clues ourselves as well. We just literally used communities.
Yeah, no, they all were.
Every
Yeah.
single
Yeah.
clue. We've got Crack the Clue going on. That's been fun watching people try it off there.
Oh, do you want to talk about?
No, I don't talk about it.
Okay.
Maybe not yet.
No
Alright.
secrets.
Maybe later.
No hints yet.
I'll
But it's
go
all in his
to
head.
the next question from Rayleigh, who asks, how about adding a tax when buying and selling from the Grand Exchange? For example, having to pay 1% more on any big transactions.
I would love to do that. I think as a driver out of gold out the game, that would be bigger than the Jewel Arena by a long, long way.
I like the comment. Taxation is theft.
Tax is theft.
Well, it's hardly taxation without representation.
I mean, it's not like we're going to spend the money on anything. It's not like we're going to fix the roads.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I see this dual arena tax, and I don't see any improvement. That palace has got a lot bigger. Have you noticed that? That Alcarid palace has got bigger. That's where your taxes are going from that dual arena, and that's why we ain't having tax in the GA.
Torfin's gilded yacht is probably on the way.
No, I sort of included this one as a bit of fun. I know it would never sort of, well, it was going to be shot down and downvoted to oblivion, but
I think it's the sort of thing we would have had to do at the start.
I wanted to raise sort of another question about it, which is when we're looking at gold sinks, how do we approach that without being too sort of imposing? What's the thought process?
Well, we recently thought players might be willing to vote for the ability to pay 1 million coins to Sanibok and never have to pay him 875 again.
That's the funny thing. Like, people are like, no, never have a tax on the GE. But the other part is that whenever we get a suggestion that is, can we have a permanent X, Y, or Z, we say, sure. How much does it usually cost? 100 GP? Yeah, well, it's like 10 mil for a one-off cost, and people will still spend it because, despite the fact you are never, ever going to use that content to make your 10 million back, people will still spend that money for that one-off purchase.
Pay for the convenience. Yeah, sure.
I mean,
That's a really
to be
nice
honest,
approach.
the gold thing on the dual arena has made a massive difference.
But that has made a very big difference.
Yeah,
The amount of money attributed to that is insane.
it's huge
But
numbers.
basically, how you approach it is it like getting a mug, I mean, that one for instance, and putting it in the ocean and pulling that water out of it?
Yeah.
You need to understand the scale.
Yeah.
Because that would do nothing, right? It would take you centuries of the whole human race to get with their mug. We got to empty the sea. It's not going to get
It's in the
anywhere.
water too when it's flowing into the sea as well.
So yeah, you need to understand the impact and if it's the right one to do, or if it's just a waste of time and you're just annoying people for no reason.
Yeah. Economically, I'd like to have the GE tax.
Oh,
But,
no.
of course,
Oh, no.
no player is going to desire the 1% tax.
Well,
in all
good.
honesty-
integrity it.
The element of the tax for GA is not the thing that, as the gold thing's fair enough, but it emphasises player trading.
Yes, that
Because
would
it
be
will
nice.
encourage you to do player-to-player trading because you avoid the tax. That's the
That's an
idea.
interesting
That's the
point.
side of it that I actually think's better and more
Sure.
adds some of the gameplay.
Yeah.
But obviously, at the same time, it removes inconvenience and
Funnily enough, it's why the GE was originally made back in 07 without a tax, because at the time there was going to be the trading restrictions, and player-to-player trading was going to be very seriously throttled. Also, the wilderness. So the GE was designed to be, well, nice and not to drive you away from itself. That's why a tax wasn't done then, and since that's what the engine had then, and it's kind of what RS3 is still using now, we didn't get a different version of it either when the GE was recreated in 2015 for us.
in all seriousness, this is also Lisa the suggestion of merchantman mode, where we have 5 worlds which you can only trade with each other. You can't use the GE at all.
I rather like the mode that some players are doing where they can't use shops or the GE. They're not iron as such, but
Yeah.
they've got to get things without using shops as the source.
From nature.
Yeah, I'm enjoying. I don't know if you've been watching it, but Ronin series Bronzeman has been pretty fun as well. Where
Any
it's
of them
like
actually
you can only trade on the GE once you've received the item once yourself. I thought that was really cool.
a nice idea.
I like that. Yeah.
Something I think about is obviously on World 345, there's not a Grand Exchange yet. That's the permanent Deadman world.
Have you got some news?
Not necessarily regarding that just yet, or is there news? I mean, I know we're thinking about making the Grand Exchange available there.
I think we've got pretty much confirmation from the engine team that it's due on March the 7th.
Oh, excellent. That's okay. Good.
Poggers.
That must have slipped
that's
my
a
mind.
PogChamp.
That's awesome. So, okay, Permanent Deadman's going to change dramatically then. If anyone's interested and wants to play with it and have the Grand Exchange there as well, there we go. But I was thinking, what about a world where you have a separate save, but it doesn't have the Grand Exchange? For players who do prefer Merchantman mode, that's potentially a thing we could explore.
Maybe a golden Iron Man symbol or something. You're not going to be an Iron Man, though, are you? So,
Yeah. So,
but yeah,
yeah. I'll move on then. I appreciate we're reaching the end of the stream, so I'll get the next couple of questions out quickly. Turn wants to know if we can get notifications on our phone when stuff sells on the Grand Exchange.
notification system's being worked on by the engine team. I don't think we're going to see it until the summer. What we then use it for is up to us, so potentially we could do that, I guess. I think it's a question for John C, who's the expert on that, but we are working on a notification system.
God, I'd love a notification system so much.
The dream is that farming's done.
Yeah, herb patches are ready. Jump on in. It's been 90 minutes.
Yeah. That'd be really useful.
They want a lot of customization on what it does and doesn't show them, by the way.
Yes. Lunch Guy wants to know another mobile-related question. They want to know, can it be changed so that a small button opens the keyboard to chat on mobile rather than the whole chat bar, which is quite close to the middle of the screen?
Say that again.
So currently on mobile, to open the chat, you click on the chat bar in the chat box, and that covers quite a lot of the screen. It's quite close to the middle as well, and some players have found that to be a bit in the way.
You get it when you're aiming for something else, like click on the ground.
And they prefer a small button.
It is doable, I imagine.
Oh yes, I mean at the moment there's a very large invisible interface component being the thing you click on for that or tap on.
Smaller.
And if we made a small one that looks like maybe a speech bubble, not too small maybe.
Keep in mind it's worth, some people might, especially newer mobile users, might like it a bit bigger to begin with.
Oh, I'm sure they'd want to toggle.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are open to changing that. It sounds possibly with the
I
option
don't think
to
it's an engine
switch.
work thing, should be fine.
We can do that.
Okay. Excellent. Brother wants to know if dyes can be added to the herb lore skill, or if we can have a way to make them ourselves without having to go to Aggie, the witch in.
Why?
Thing to do. Yeah. Well, some people may want them, but I don't see why not.
I mean, yeah, we can,
Yeah.
and it makes sense, but I don't see why you would run it.
There's an entire quest that unlocks pink dye.
That's true.
We could, of course, streamline the process of getting them off Aggie considerably in the way we did for Ava with.
That's
reward
why.
items.
Swampathletics and its capes.
Ah,
Why don't we just
Nice try.
Why don't we just take Gillinor and put it in Mauritania?
good thinking.
Also, the Ghost of High request requires them for the toy ship. And
Yeah, that
Oh,
makes
yeah.
sense. Makes sense.
Okay.
This seems to like that. That was the best suggestion of the entire stream. Good got me.
Poggers in chat. Yeah.
Look, this is going to take us to the suggestion where we say put all of Gillinor inside Mauritania, and it solves nothing, right? The restrictions are there, and that's the point. That's what makes it fun.
So if Mauritania ever, takes over the rest of the world by conquering it with vampires and stuff, that would be interesting.
I'm really cautious now when I get suggestions. I'm reading it, I'm like, why would they want that there? What would that change? Will it affect Swampathletics?
Aggie's
Fair. It's not fun, right? Swampathletics isn't fun. Watching it is.
That's true.
But doing it is.
45 hours for 15 agility, not fun.
For what it's worth, Aggie's method of giving you dies is pretty horrible.
It is.
There are ways we could improve that.
Sure. So I appreciate we're a couple minutes away from the end of the stream. I remember you mentioning, Mod Matt K, something about Crack the Clue.
Yeah.
Should we address that?
So a week ago, first clue went last week, wasn't it? Last Friday.
On Friday, yes.
Yeah, Friday the first. Camera. Last Friday the first clue went out, but some of you, pains, went and found it early before we were ready, and went and solved it. And we said at that point, we would make sure we didn't do that again. So when you found this clue up on the website, by doing the same method again, you decided that it was a real clue and went to solve it. So unfortunately, you guys weren't clever enough to solve it. Had you have actually solved the clue, there we go, there's the clue.
Womp,
Yeah, if you'd have actually solved the clue properly, you would have found out this isn't a real clue.
Yeah. Sorry,
So-
Paul.
But none of you managed to actually solve it properly. What you needed to do is you needed to take this probability calculation and put it into the right distribution, which is the Poisson distribution, which we all know is French for fish. And you would have come out with an RGB code, which was red. And it was a red fish. It was a red herring.
Hey.
And you guys couldn't even get that. And you think you're going to solve Crack the Clue? I don't think so.
My favourite part about this is that I was watching Phil earlier, and right at the beginning of the stream, he was like, I just don't think there'd be a red herring. And he literally said it. If you watch back, like the first 10 minutes of his stream, he goes, I just don't think they'd give us a red herring like this. as he's looking at the clue, and I'm like, oh my god, he has no idea what he's just said. He's just answered the.
Fo.
Yeah, sorry, Fo.
That's one of my favourite bits in
It's both streaming
Remnant
right
Files, where you are given
Maybe.
a red herring,
we know?
and
I know it was
it's
earlier.
something you
Who's in the
need.
chat?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Sorry, bro.
Both Wooks and Foe.
Guardian.
Technically, he got the clue, just didn't know he did it.
Yeah, yeah, you know, if you'd solved it properly, I mean, you guys got no chance solving crack the clue when I'm 4 out.
I still could just give them a picture of Rick Astley or something.
Yeah.
Marquet lives for this stuff.
He does. We don't even know the answers.
So yeah, so please wait
Yeah.
for the actual clues, which I believe the second one we're going to release later this week. Is that the plan?
I believe it's Friday. You guys are controlling
Friday.
when it goes
Keep
out.
searching
Yes,
the website.
so-
and
Yeah.
find it.
Keep an eye on the news posts and the
Keep messing
website.
with that URL. You
Yeah.
I'd recommend maybe waiting for the official announcement
Official
of it,
sources.
so that you don't get, more red herrings, which may exist.
Yes, they may exist.
My favourite part of this whole thing was reading the Crack the Clue subreddit, where somebody posted it, Clue 2 leaked, and they said, oh, how do you find it? Same way we found the first one. They didn't even change it, idiots.
Excellent. Right, so that just about wraps us up. I realise we're at 6 o'clock. I'm going to thank everybody for watching our stream and everybody for joining me on the sofa this week. We hope you guys have a good week. We'll catch you a good week, and we'll catch you again on Thursday as usual.
The players asking about Group Iron Man, I answered that one about 25 past 5.
Scroll
so maybe
back.
scroll back.
All right, well, thank you everyone, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.